I got two people in the audience that's going to make me cry right here. These guys, part of my office. When were you? How many years? 11 years ago, they ran my office. And they showed up this morning. We are to blame, yes. And we're laughing because whenever we held workshops or anything like that, so let's say the workshop was at 6 o'clock, the time we put on the flyers and everything was 5:57. Because, one, it catches your attention, right? Gets people there. And in my office, you will remember, I started at 6. Now, it didn't happen this morning. I waited 5 minutes just because the breakfast was so good here, isn't it, compared to the last hotel we were at? Yes, no, maybe? Yes. Much better, much better. And this is a good crowd to start a Friday morning off with. How many people have been with me for a philosophy discussion? Good, because we're going to talk about nutrition. Yes, who said eyeballs? Tweaky, well, we're going to get there, but not, we're going to talk about tweaky eyeballs. It's Matrix Unplugged, right? And so to get into chiropractic philosophy, I thought, what could we have some fun with? And I thought about, why not start with nutrition? Because people will not be expecting that from me. But I talk about nutrition a lot in the practice. People say, well, that's not philosophy. That's not philosophy. Well, how many people have seen this book? Yeah, Rob Sinnott's book. Great. So people say, well, I don't want to read all the green books, so we always said, well, just read this one, right? Read Stevenson's. And then people would get into it and say, well, that's too much. I don't want to read Stevenson's because it's too much to wrap my head around. Well, I don't even tell you to read this book. I'll tell you, buy this book and read it. Rob broke down Stevenson's to 1 page, 4 paragraphs. If you can't read that, probably in the wrong profession. But granted that you're here, yes, ma'am. It is the textbook of human adaptability. And I'll send it back just so you can take a picture. You know what? I'd give this to you, but he signed this one to me, so you can't have it. So 1 page of philosophy and the textbook of adaptability, truly the philosophy of chiropractic comes down to that. Our internal environment adapts to our external environment. It's a mental impulse. That feedback comes to our brain and it goes out to our body, and then we say, hey, okay, let's adapt to this world we're in. Yes? Okay. I don't care if you eat an apple. I don't care if you eat a Twinkie. Your body is making that into an eyeball. True? Whether you eat an apple or a Twinkie, your body's making an eyeball. I'd rather have an eyeball of an apple. That's chiropractic philosophy. Yes, stay clear, stay adjusted from above down inside. You keep that spine clear, the nervous system. So when you do adapt and you are eating Twinkies, you're going to have the best Twinkie eyeball out there. That's talking nutrition in a philosophically sound chiropractic office. Yes or no? Jay, am I way off base? I always, he's my rudder in the water when it comes to philosophy. So now, the question comes in when you're adjusting people, and they ask you about, hey, doc, what do you eat? What do you eat? What would be a great philosophical answer to that? Anybody? Because I got it. You know me, I pass the mic. Taste, what's that? All fruits and vegetables. Oh, I thought you were talking about what's the candy that Skittles. Okay. What's that? I will pass the mic. I will pass the mic. So that's a good one. Say it again just so I can remember it. Taste the rainbow. Taste the rainbow. And what's the rainbow stand for? All the fruits and vegetables, all the colors. All the colors. Am I the first one to hear that? Taste the rainbow? New to you too, Jay? I'm probably going to use that. What's another good potential answer for that? Anybody? Do you not talk? What was that? Someone started it.
What your body intuitively craves, wants.
Did everybody hear that?
What your body intuitively craves or wants.
What your body intuitively craves or wants. Do you know that what she just said was addressed in Stevenson's textbook? And do you remember that? Yes, you remember that? Dan, you remember that? I even think I have it marked. Hold on. Shoot.
In Stevenson, he talks about brain cell to tissue cell. We all know that. But brain cell is tissue cell. And if you look at the sophomore text and you look at the Cirrus cycle, he goes directly into that. Because if your brain cell is meant to function optimally, it is a cell. It requires nutrition, oxygen, and any of the things necessary. To me, that is chiropractic philosophy.
Cycles and smears are all over the place. Have you taken the program yet?
Which program?
Have you taken the, is it LCP, ACP, DPHC? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay,
I do not have a PHC, but I do read a lot of Stevenson
right.
and D.
I'm going to
Palmer.
talk to you in about an hour.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to read. If the body is given the elements that innate requires and in quantities that she requires and makes known the need by normal hunger or thirst, she can manufacture any combination needed. Okay, eyeball. What's that saying is apple, Twinkie, eyeball, right? You give it, she's doing it. Educated should not presume to determine the calories are determined. People with abnormal hunger. This is what triggered me finding this page with what you said. Gosh, my eyes are bad. Yes, I had too many Twinkies. People with abnormal hunger or other abnormal desires are technically sick people. Oh my gosh, it's been a while. That's an awesome sentence. People with abnormal hunger or other abnormal desires are technically sick people. In a chiropractic world, when BJ says sick, what is he talking about? Subluxated, diseased. Diseased. Wow, this will get me going. Because in a chiropractic office, if you're dealing with sick people, subluxated people, diseased people, innate won't be able to use what you give it correctly for the perfect expression of itself. So as chiropractors, we better do what in a chiropractic office? Get sick people well by doing what? Checking them. Making sure the power, whether it's brain cell to brain cell, which is brain cell to tissue cell, sorry, that's a whole other discussion I'm going to have with him. But brain to body, body back to brain, if that's interfered with, and we have abnormal desires, that's why I went to Skittles when you said rainbow. Maybe that's an abnormal desire for me. You give me some Skittles, thank you. Man, that is good. I took a hard left in what I was going to talk about, which is the way it happens, right, Jack? Let's see what he says next. When dieting is done to offset or alleviate an adverse condition in living brought on by civilization, external environment, an adverse state of affairs brought on by unwise precedents of human growth of life, then dieting is not a battle between morbid, educated mind and innate. It is simply between educated and educated. Got to eat the pyramid, Jack. Because next week, the pyramid's going to change. Right? It was in the 30 years I've been practicing, I think it was just a 3-stacked pyramid. And then at one time, there was like 17 bricks in the pyramid. Those were Twinkies when they were adding the Skittles and the Twinkies to it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Because if you set up an educated nutrition talk in your office, it's probably going to be wrong next week. It's going to be wrong. Have you ever had, man, that apple is looking so good. Can I have some water, Simon? Have you ever had that apple? Imagine that apple, everybody's had it, where you took that bite and it was heaven. Are you with me? You know what I'm talking about? That apple you had, and you took that bite, and it was the best apple bite you've ever had, ever. I remember that day. I know where I was. What did my body want at that time? Whatever was in that apple. Yes? You write down the day, the time, the tree you picked that apple from, the time of the day of the year, because you're going back for that apple. And let's say you go back there and you pick that apple. And you've all done this. You've taken a bite of that apple, and that was the last bite of that apple you had. You didn't want any part of that apple. Why? What's that? The need was met a year before, but that right at that moment, did my body want that apple? No. But it was the same apple from the same tree, the same time, right then and there. Are you with me, or did I lose you? I wasn't the same. Better way to say it. You want the mic? Okay. That's a nutrition discussion in a chiropractic office. Not you need to go buy apples, though you probably should, versus Twinkies. But rather than maybe going to Costco and buying a month's supply of food, why not going every day, just buying for that day and walking through and letting your body tell you, that's what I want today. That's what I want today. And then you build this up. Why not take your family with you? Show your kids why you're going to the grocery store every day, or maybe every other day. Why not do this? When you walk into the grocery store, at the front, you say, go. Go find what your body needs today. I've done this. We have code words. They'll scream. I'll know. We got it all figured out. But the point is saying, look, go. Go look for what your body needs today, son, daughter. Is that a chiropractic discussion? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Chiropractors dedicated to the principles. It's not chiropractors dedicated to the technique seminar. It's not chiropractors dedicated to the school seminar. It's not chiropractors dedicated to the state association seminar. It's to the principles. That's why you should be here, sitting here, and being able to learn how to communicate some of that in your office, rather than 3 times a week because the power is going to be turned on. It gets boring really quick. Yes, long-timers and short-termers, it gets boring really quick. And we just talked about nutrition. How about now we talk about exercise? Well, that's not a chiropractic thing. Wait, come on. Is it Atlas or C3? Maybe. It's a whole nother discussion. Well, what about exercise? Okay. Knowing a little bit about your history, I'm going to turn you into an Olympic power lifter. Do you really think, stand up for me for a second. Do you think I'm going to make her deadlift, bench, and squat a ton of weight? Just looking at her, Maybe her body wants that.
Pretty strong.
She's really strong, really strong. But why not do this? What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Trail run.
Trail run. Let's do it. Now, she goes out because she's fired up and she goes out and trail runs and we build her up. And if you've ever trained for anything in your life, when I turned 40 13 years ago, I ran my one and only marathon. Were you with me then? They're laughing at me because I will never run more than 400 yards ever again. Because I now know bodies aren't designed to run that far. But training for that, there were days, and whoever's trained for anything in their life, when I was training for that marathon, there were days I went out and I felt like I could run 100 miles. Just let me go. I could run 100 miles. And there was days, 10 steps sucked. Ever done anything exercise-wise with that in your life, right? What was my body telling me on that day of 10 steps? Don't do it. I'm not going to use that energy for positive survival values today. I'm not going to do it. But I had that goal. My educated mind said, I got a marathon date to do. Today the script tells me I've got to run this amount to get prepared for that day. Educated mind. And don't get me wrong, discipline's a great thing. Discipline is a great thing for this, as long as you can control your educated mind on it. But I should have listened. I wouldn't have had knee surgery 6 weeks after that damn marathon. So, talking exercise in your office. Is it a chiropractic principle discussion? It can be, and you should discuss it. You should discuss it. Not, I have a program for you. I have a program. This is what you're going to do. Is, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? All right, let's work with that. Well, I don't have weights. I don't have clothes. I don't have a gym membership. I don't. You've got gravity in your body. Let's do this. That's what you're adapting to every day. Gravity in your body. Give me a squat. Speaking of which, stand up. Give me 5 air squats. He duly holding me accountable. I've already done mine this morning, but I'll do them again. Have a seat for me.
Maya Nate said more bacon.
More bacon.
Body by bacon.
Physiologically, do you feel different? Educatedly, you knew that, right? You knew that. Why didn't you stand up and do 5 air squats yourself? Here it is in a chiropractic office. Gravity in your body. Someone says, Doc, what do I do exercise-wise? Well, give me 5 air squats. No, now, give me 5 air squats. Give me 5 air squats. All right, you just exercised today. I highly recommend you do it again tomorrow. And it doesn't have to be air squats. Give me push-ups. Well, I can't do push-ups. You just did 5 air squats. You want to have really fun with them? I just did 2 one-arm push-ups. You can walk around and tell everybody you just did 2 one-arm push-ups. And your body's going to be better. I can't. 171? Wow. Who here has heard of the ACP, LCP, or the DPHC? Raise your hand. Hi. So not everybody. There is do we have brochures or anything for that? No. What's the website? Chiroprogress.org or can we do it? Sherman. Sherman.edu/ACP. These are advanced, I don't want to say advanced because it scares people away. Postgraduate philosophical discussions and degrees you can get. It's cool stuff talking about this, and you learn from crazy people like Dan Lyons and Brian Dooley. 177?
Yep.
The only thing I'm going to say about it is this.
On page 132.
I can't even see the numbers. Jeez. 130 what? 132. Mine's a different book, but yeah, but it's printed differently. The pages are differently. So even Stevenson, even our philosophy talks about what I just talked with you. And if you didn't read the book, you didn't know that. So I'm glad you guys are here, but there's half the room that heard philosophy discussion. I ain't going to that, right? Because it's, the fire and brimstone. If you're talking about anything but C1, anything but C1, I ain't going to that, right? But a great philosophical discussion is, hey, people are going to ask about nutrition. People are going to ask about exercise. How do you do that in a philosophically sound chiropractic office from a chiropractor who's dedicated to the principles? How do you do that and stay strong to the principles and the philosophy of chiropractic? Isn't that a great discussion? Are we having fun, or are you doing 5 more air squats with me? Isn't it pretty cool to start this way? Have you ever talked about that with anybody in your office? Besides saying, what's the latest one? The 30 hole? No, that was a bad discussion. Hole 30? So that was a hard right versus a hard left. The Whole 30, rather than buying all those books and someone says you're gonna hold a nutrition discussion in your chiropractic office that's dedicated to chiropractic principles, and your discussion is here, we're gonna do the Whole 30 for the next 30 days. It might change the lives of those 30 people, but it might not be right for 29 of them. You feel that? And then it becomes fun, because when you're going from room to room and you're sitting down with people and you're talking with them, or you're there for 5 seconds, I know it ain't going to be a Whole 30 discussion, Whole 30 discussion, Whole 30 discussion, Whole 30 discussion, because at the end of the week you're going, psh, right? How about this? What'd you have for breakfast this morning? A burrito? Did you like it? Yeah? Would you do it again? Yeah? Would you do it again tomorrow? Why? Because it was great today? Yeah, but what if your body doesn't want it tomorrow? Then you eat something else? Perfect. Great. See you Wednesday. Versus, you see where I was going with that discussion? No. She planned on eating burritos for 40 days in a row. And she was going to do, I'm doing 40 burritos. Well, what if tomorrow her body didn't want that burrito? And how would she know? When you're listening to your body, oh God, you wake up like this. I got to eat that damn burrito. Everybody's been there, right? But I'm going to do it because I made those damn burritos. It's a burrito time. It's 6:30 in the morning and it's burrito time. I'm eating a burrito. That's when I'll let the rooms back up. That's when I'll let the front back up. Because that's the discussion I want to have that's the discussion I want to have. Jake, you know this. We'll let it back up. I have no problem letting it back up. Because when it backs up and then people start coming up and getting through, some of them will be like, come on, what were you doing in there? I was having a great burrito discussion. You want to have it with me too? Those are what make you at the end of the week go, this is awesome. I love what I do. And my office is a home for chiropractors dedicated to its principles. Well, come on, it's C1. You're so off base if you're adjusting below C1. I ain't having that discussion with you, brother. Love you. I love you, but I ain't having that discussion with you. All right. Nutrition. Exercise. Here's one that's going to freak you out. Not sex, Jack. No, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's say you're having the same burrito all the time. It's chiropractic philosophy. I don't care what you told me to talk about. True? Yes. And Danny, I'll stop there. But you see the point. What I was going to talk about, spirituality. I have no problem talking about it in my office. If someone brings it up and wants to talk to me, I'm not going to force mine on them. But if they bring it up with me, I ain't going to say, here's the whole 30 for spirituality. The way I found mine, I guarantee isn't the way everybody finds it. I guarantee it. I'd be surprised if one other person walked my path because it's my path. And in my mind, that's a philosophical, chiropractically sound discussion. Well, what are you doing talking about that in your office? Because it's much more than C1 to me. I want to see you express it. I want to see you express it. However that may be. You ain't going to be judged in my office. Black, white, red, yellow, pink, purple, LGBTQ plus. I don't even know the numbers anymore or the letters anymore. You ain't judged in my office. So we don't have to discuss it. If there's no judgment, you don't have to discuss it. Unless, in my mind, it's a spiritually sound discussion, which might be this. I see you walk in a different spirit. You're always happy. You're always on top of it. You're here getting your spine checked. You got your whole family. You referred your whole street into my office. What drives that? To me, that's a sound, principled discussion. And I'm not going to do this because I want to do that. I want to walk that path. It's probably not right for me. But it was right for her, and it drives me when I see people expressing 100% of themselves, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It drives me to be a better chiropractor. And she's going to know she's welcome. And the byproduct of that, which is not the drive, is I just planted in her, you may not have heard it, she's referred her family and her street into my office. Did you hear that? Am I done? Oh. Today is National Donut Day? You know what? I have no problem eating a donut if that's what your body's craving at that time. But if it's a habit, you're no problem saying it in a chiropractically correct way, you're a sick person. And it's okay to say that to yourself, which probably means I need to be checked or checked differently. Ever been a chiropractic patient Jake Hansen practices in my town. Practices in my town. I've been doing this 30 years that I'm humble enough to do this. Brian, I can tell the connection with what I'm doing in my office. We're not at 100%, are we? You know, if chiropractors, you know that person's leaving. You know they're leaving, but they're afraid to get the divorce attorney and all that stuff, right? And then it's going to get ugly, and they're never going to be going to a chiropractor again, right? I know the chiropractor's been doing this for a while. I can see the heads nod. Hey, Brian, chiropractic is for everybody. My office isn't. Chiropractic's for everybody. My office isn't. And I'd rather lose you as a patient than have you lose chiropractic. There's one other guy in town that I would allow to check me. His name's Jake Hansen. I'll give you his name and number. I'm not kicking you out. Don't hear this incorrectly. But I'm telling you this. If you're ever thinking of divorcing me, I say it. Jake, I have no problem saying what's on my mind in my office. If you're ever thinking about divorcing me, please be upfront with me. Let's go right to arbitration, and I'll give you to Jake Hansen. Fair enough? Thank you for that. Maybe I should push the buttons a little bit harder then. So, I guess my point this morning is, and I was having fun with my brothers who've known me forever. They were saying, well, what are you talking about tomorrow? And I said, nutrition. Nutrition. Just to mess with them a little bit, right? And look, they all pulled out their green books and they were giving me, this is exercise, this is nutrition, because they know. All that's a great chiropractic discussion, and a lot of chiropractors are afraid to discuss it. Yes, stay in your lane. Doc, what should I eat? I have no idea, but I know Twinkies are bad and salads are good. Did you know that? Yeah. Well, then we're on the same page. You know as much as me. Twinkies are bad, salads are good. Right? Unless I guess the Twinkies made a salad, we can go down that rabbit hole. Right? Why not start having those discussions? I want to see some honest hands from the chiropractors in this room. Not right now, but have you ever just been tired in practice? Raise your hand. Students and non-chiropractors, look around. Look around at the hands. And and you can put them down. This is an amazing profession. Everybody will tell you that. From above, down, inside out, this is what we would do. We will die doing it. But there are times we're tired about it. And what I have found is when my office is not an office filled with chiropractors not dedicated to its principles. Well, then it's all about C1. No, when I get back to talking nutrition, or I guess sex and burritos now, it's what fires you back up. Instead of, it's your third week of 3 times a week, and I missed you last week, and we got to make that up, and right? Here's the discussion I have in my office. Look, you've hired me to deliver some goods. In my office, we don't schedule. You've hired me to deliver the goods. The only time you'll hear from me, Raymond, is if I don't see you. I'd rather say, Raymond, stay out of my office than where the hell are you? Who'd I just free up? Who'd I just free up? Both of us. Both of us. Look, if you need to lose 100 pounds and you ate right once a month, it's great you're eating right once a month, right? But are you losing the 100 pounds? How often should you eat right? Every day, as often as you can. The more you eat right, the better off you're going to be. The more I check you and clear you, and you're clear longer, the more you're clear, the better you're going to be. How are you going to stay clear? He just told me coming in. Well, doc, does that mean every day? Well, yeah, you can come in every day, but you better bring some coffee or something on the second, third visit when you come in. Or how about this? Raymond, I'm going to pick on you just because you're right in front of me and I love you. You know, brother, I love you. Physical, emotional, and chemical stresses. You've just learned all about vertebral subluxation. Physical, emotional, and chemical stresses. That's what your body can adapt to and how your body breaks down and subluxates. Do you go a day without any physical, emotional, or chemical stresses? Or how about this? Start basic. When was the first physical stress on your body? Do you remember the first physical stress on your body? You don't? Some people would say, well, I fell off a ladder when I was 10. I had my first concussion at 7. I fell off a ladder last week. The males, I was brushing my teeth this morning, doc, and my back went south. It was this morning, right? No. How about the birth process? Right? Just remind you, they twist your head and they yank one shoulder down and yank one shoulder up and they get you out as fast as they can so they can go to the next one. Think that was the first physical stress on your body? I'll answer for you, it was. Right? And do you go a day without any physical stresses? Do you go a day without any physical? I mean, you're sitting in gravity right now. Do you think you're stressed out? Yeah. How about chemical stresses? When was your first chemical stress? No trick questions. When you were born, you took a breath. They thought you weren't perfect, so they started the first shot. Oh my God, you talk about vaccines in your office? Well, when I'm talking about vertebral subluxation, absolutely. First physical stress, chemical stress is when you took your first breath. You just took another one, right? You just took another one, right? Okay. How about emotional stress? When was your first emotional stress? Again, no trick questions. You come from the hot tub into this world. No wonder we cry. Right? And because I'm picking on you, you're under some stress right now emotionally, aren't you? You might not be, but you know what? You feel me with where I'm going? In this conversation I'll have with the patient. And I'll back up. I don't care. So if physical, emotional, and chemical stresses are what can cause potentially vertebral subluxation in the spine, and then I can say it to you guys, then interfere with the power that's coming from above, down, inside, from brain cell to tissue cell and brain cell to brain cell, allowing you to express it 100% so you can't be who you want to be. I don't say that. But I say, if every day, you're having physical, emotional, and chemical stresses, knowing that they can cause the problem that brought you into my office, how often should you be checked? If every day this is happening. They'll say it. They don't want to say it, but they'll say it. They don't want to say it, but they'll say it. Every day. Yes. Mm. Okay. Let me finish. So, if you just told me every day, when should you have started getting checked by me every day? They answer the question. From birth, every day. Now, if I required you to be here from birth every day, I become the physical stress. I become the emotional stress. I might become the chemical stress. I might become the financial, emotional stress. Oh my God, he wants me here every day from birth. Blah, blah, blah. Right? But the discussion was simply this. Raymond, only time you're going to hear from me is when I don't see you. But you now understand you should be here as often as you can, right? I'll tell you when I don't want to see you anymore. To be honest, Raymond, I want to see 500 people tomorrow. And I don't want to deliver one adjustment. Guess what discussion I'm going to have with them next visit? Doc, don't people come here to get adjusted? No. They come here to get checked. That's a whole nother can of worms of discussion, right? How many people here are going to go back and have a little bit different discussion in their office? Raise your hand for me. Sweet. Because it's going to be awesome. You can tell, this is not an act. I'm fired up now. I'm fired up now. What I'm going to encourage you to do is this. I will put this up on the desk so you can take a picture of it. Go get it. Okay? First homework assignment. Second homework assignment, even if you don't sign up, go to sherman.edu/ACP. Dan Lyons, what's the second one? chiroprogress.org. And just read. If this type of discussion gets you fired up, those websites are probably for you. The third thing you do is, if you don't have Stevenson's, who here doesn't, and I'll buy it for you? You need to get it. You need to get it. And you put it on your nightstand or you put it on your desk, and instead of scrolling Facebook and instead of scrolling Instagram or any of that stuff, the 3 hours a day you waste doing that, spend 5 minutes here. Learn about nutrition in here. Learn about exercise in here. Learn about spirituality in here. And you'll learn a ton about why you are a chiropractor. Because if you're a chiropractor dedicated to its principles, you will have an office dedicated to its principles. And you will have patients, a town, a family, and a seminar dedicated to its principles. Will you guys do at least one of those three things for me? Yes? Beautiful. You've got 10 minutes to get back in here. Thank you for showing up this morning. I appreciate it.